What is going on, everybody? My name is Chris. What you see back there, that's my Bitcoin mining farm. My entire life is invested in this project you see behind me. A lot of you think I'm absolutely crazy because of the fact that my entire life is invested in this project and various other cryptocurrency projects. What you are seeing right now is not something a lot of human beings ever get to see.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today I'm actually sitting down with Mr. Kristof. You guys reached out to me. We wanted to get the facts straight from a miner himself. So thanks, man, for joining the channel and coming on today.
You're welcome. I feel like I should update my intro. Every time I watch yours, it's just like, man, I don't have that. I don't have that charisma. I don't have that fire.
Man, I just started doing it one day and it just kind of happened. So, I guess basically real quick, in case anyone doesn't know, basically you are a miner. That's what most people know you for. So like, I just wanted to know, what's your background? Like when did you find out about Bitcoin? How did you get in the space? And then what made you decide, instead of just investing, why did you say, no, I'm going to mine? How did you get started with all that?
Oh gosh. All right. So the first time I was introduced to Bitcoin was actually by a friend. And when he first told me about it, it was introduced to him by his financial advisory firm, right? And when he told me about it, I was just like, yeah, just like anything else you first hear about that no one else is talking about. I was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's in 2015. So he kept pushing it. And then finally for my birthday, he bought me some. And he bought it for me. He put it on a hardware wallet. And my birthday's in summer. I completely forgot about it. Great, thanks, whatever. In fall, I had nothing else to do. It was wintertime, and there was actually some news about it. I was like, there's actually something I saw in the news about Bitcoin. I was like, wait, I know about this Bitcoin. I checked it out, started doing more reading into it. It's at that point when I guess I saw some sort of a mainstream influence that I looked into it and said, wow, this is pretty cool.
What time was this? What year? When did this happen?
2015.
Okay.
2015, end of 2015. So I bought some more, right? Set up a Coinbase account, bought some more, and actually kind of forgot about it again. 2016, me and this friend get back together. We're starting to talk about it. He tells me about, hey, listen, have you heard about Ether? I'm like, no, what's this Ether? I didn't realize there was this whole world of coins at that time. And he starts telling me about Ether and all these other coins and all these different projects. I go home and do some research. I didn't know what I wanted to buy at that time. We reconnect summer of 2016. And he's telling me that he bought into Ant shares, which is known as NEO now. Mm-hmm. I think he bought it like 20 cents or something like that. And he bought into several other things. I was like, well, that's cool. My Bitcoin is going up. That time the price is going up. I felt pretty good about it. And then he started telling me about these again. He's like, hey, buy XRP. So I bought some XRP, but it was towards the end of 2016 when I really started seeing the inflation of the coin and I started learning about the entire ecosystem. That's something just clicked. And I started buying more altcoins. And I went through the accumulations phase. 2017 happened. And it's just like, it's literally like the gold rush, right? Literally the gold rush happens. Your eyes are open. You see this big shiny thing at the very end. Through 2017, though, something you kept hearing people say was mining was unprofitable. Now, my background is as an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. So I've done business. And a true entrepreneur is an expert in failure. And I've failed a lot. But when you fail a lot, something that you realize when people are running away from something, that's the time you need to kind of pay attention to it. So everyone was running away from mining. I learned a lot about mining in 2017. And I remember I wanted to do something sooner, but I didn't have the electrical know-how. So 2017, I kind of took my time and built my knowledge base on electricity and how that stuff works. Basically, I guess you could say an amateur electrician is what I became. And end of 2017, I started my YouTube channel and I actually did a video saying, hey, I'm going to do this. A lot of people were saying, yeah, whatever, it's not unprofitable. And then
you announced it live and then so your whole journey is documented, basically.
Wow. Yeah, I actually have viewers that have been with my channel from the point I mentioned I was going to do it and talk about doing it to the day I actually broke ground. So it's it's actually, yeah, it's documented in my YouTube channel more or less. Yeah.
Well, how has it been then, straight up, like realistically speaking, because we've seen, you know, the death spiral and miners are shutting down and this and that. I mean, how has it been for you? Has it been tough? I mean, like realistically, like.
All right. The real answer to that is mining is hard. There's nothing easy about it. There's no manual out there that tells you how to do this or how to run it as a business. So between the construction complications that I've had, right, the delays I've had in equipment, the market swinging, things going wrong. I mean, it's been tough. You know,
Mm-hmm.
It's been really, really tough. It's really literally 24/7, 365. There's times that, yeah, I'm not kidding. You
No, I
you
believe it.
go home, go to sleep, and then your phone will go off. You've got miners overheating. You have a problem with your network. Guess what you got to do? You got to get up and show up. So it's been hard, and it's financially speaking, to be completely transparent, it's not a gold mine right now. You know, the production cost of a Bitcoin in the United States or period is about 3150, 3175. That's what they say production cost typically is.
So you
And
are
that's
profiting technically right now.
technically I'm profiting, but I'm not making,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars like people think I am with having a mining farm like this. It's not that easy. Now, I can tell you right now, the first time Bitcoin makes any significant moves, it's going to be good. But between now and that point, it truly is a struggle. And anyone who's in mining right now tells you it's not. It's definitely not true.
Mm. Okay, so all right, so you basically started in a very difficult time right now. So you're definitely a trooper sticking it out. Hopefully the things that you are building right now. I mean, I'm a firm believer in the fact that this is just a bear market. It's not. I don't think Bitcoin is dead by any means. I don't think crypto's dead. And it's funny because you were like, I started when everybody ran away, and when you talk to people on the channel, it's almost like, now also is the time to be looking at these cryptos and to be paying attention to, what's happening in the space when everyone else ran away and no one's paying any attention. But I did want to ask you a few questions, kind of like your opinion on it. So, like, for example, as far as the halvening, right now, that's something that's really important, clearly, because it's going to affect you. And that's happening a year from May. Now, we hear a lot of people saying that a year leading up to the halvening is sort of previously when Bitcoin kind of does its bottom and that's it. So a lot of people are saying that regardless of what happens between now and May, really doesn't matter because by May we should be kind of figuring out where we're at. So what's your opinion on that? I mean, do you think that that's the case, or, some people might say it's consensus. I don't know, but we know that wasn't true last year. So.
All right. So I'll answer that question.
I'm not asking you to make a price prediction, but I'm kind of just asking.
I'll answer it. I'll answer it in two modes. One, emotional, the guy who's invested, and two, logical. The guy who's invested emotionally, who really believes in this, feels that by May, because of the halving event, because of the fact that you have this concept of supply and demand, supply is fixing to get cut in half from a year from that point. It only makes sense the price goes up, right? I really feel personally like at an emotional level, it should go up. Now, if you take it to a logical level, one element that we have now that we did not have in the previous halving events was the futures market. We didn't have the CME and we didn't have the CBOE. Logically speaking, and this, I hate admitting this, but it's true. While we know it affected the price of Bitcoin, you cannot get a clear, solid answer on how and why exactly does it have the impact that it does right now. I believe it was the CEO or the chairman of the CME who said that we will tame Bitcoin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said it, and they absolutely did. But the actual how it influences and just the whole ecosystem of how that affected us so much is still not 100% clear. And it's still speculated that what we're experiencing now is the result of that. Mm-hmm. So you carry that over to May, right? If you look at what the halving has done to Bitcoin historically, it turned it. I mean, it made it wild. I can't remember the exact number or percentage of gains it was, but it's insane. It's like 200x, somewhere around there on average, somewhere around there, right? Now, would the CME and the futures market still permit that to happen? That's the question I have, because we never had that into the equation. And of course, we have a whole lot of other things in the equation. We have BAC, we have Goldman Sachs, we have BlackRock or Blackstone. I mean, there's Susquehanna. We just so many different elements, opening trading desks, so many different elements trying to get Bitcoin products to Wall Street investors, right? But again, we have the CME and the futures market that crushed us. Mm-hmm. So how is this going to work with the halvening. I don't know.
Well,
I won't lie
it
to
kind
you.
of like I was just gonna
I
say it
was
kind of goes
lie to
against
you.
it because of the paper bitcoins. It's like the same thing that happened to gold. You know, it
Yeah.
loses the beauty of being a limited amount when you're
Yes.
creating, 100x leverage and all these paper bitcoins, and that's kind of like not really the beauty of it. So I do see what you're saying about that.
Yeah, and that the derivative trading, the paper Bitcoin, to me, it goes against the whole idea of Bitcoin. Just like it goes against the idea of gold. To get physical gold requires machines going into the ground, digging, spending money, labor. There's value to it. That's what builds a value. It's a rarity and complexity of getting it. Same thing with Bitcoin. It's rare and it's not easy to get. The paper derivatives coming into the market, it's just like I feel like in a long enough timeline that's going to fail. I don't think that timeline is any time in the near future because if you think about the Bitcoin is not really being designed to be a store of value. When you have Starbucks talking about using it to buy coffee, it's a currency. It's the infrastructure that everyone is building around Bitcoin, even a Lightning Network, small transactions. It's meant to be a currency, a mode of exchange. So if you have something that's not a store of value, right, like gold, but it's meant to be a currency, a mode of exchange, and then you have people that hold a bunch of paper Bitcoin during a time that say adoption is even just maybe 10% worldwide, because I don't think we're even close to that. I think the percentage is like less than 0.1 or something like that. Crazy, right?
It's pretty small. Yeah.
It's small. Imagine we get to 5% and people are actually exchanging this as a currency, and you have paper Bitcoin that's useless. I mean, how does that work?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just theoretical. That's just my
And
thought.
then there's also, the same issue, even with just the transactions and, Bitcoin being slow and it's not really Satoshi's vision. And we've obviously seen, how many different spin-offs of, this fork versus this fork versus this fork of, what it is. And then that does actually bring the question is, if it was supposed to originally be peer-to-peer electronic digital cash and now it's more of a store of value, like, what are we doing? And now we're relying on things like Lightning, which are essentially custodial. So, the vision has been thwarted. But then again, at the same time, while I do respect Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he or she or they are,
Right.
maybe there were certain things that were unforeseen. Maybe we had to adapt a little bit. I mean, how many inventions, like the first one that comes out is like, yeah, we nailed it. No, there's usually a few more beta models that come out, they upgrade, they change. And I think that that's sort of what Bitcoin has gone through. And, we've seen a lot of other projects pretty much solve their issue, right? I mean, you have Nano, which is free. They don't charge you anything, right? Fast. Right. But why doesn't it gain the adoption? Like why? And that's the thing you have to ask yourself. There's something that's happening. There's a gravitation towards, Bitcoin still. It's still the number one. It's still the big daddy. And, regardless of you being a miner, and all that stuff, what is it about it that, drives people? Like, I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you've answered this on your channel, but I mean, for you, is it a means to acquire more dollars, or long term, are you actually like, no, I want to have this Bitcoin, or is it a mix of both,
My answer is I've answered that before on my channel, and a lot of people think I'm crazy, but for me, it's accumulating Bitcoin. I did a video on the economy a long time ago. I can't remember when. I do a lot of videos, but I basically was talking about the US dollar and quantitative easing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had 10 years of quantitative easing, 10 years that we just basically printed more money. It's not backed by anything. We don't have a gold standard. We're on the trust standard, right?
Yeah, we haven't had it since the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they call it banking and trust. We have to trust that we have value.
Well, that's the joke I make is everyone goes, oh, Tether's not even backed by anything. Well, even if Tether was backed by the dollar, what the hell's the dollar backed by? It's like
that's a good point. But for me, again, on a long enough timeline, I just don't see fiat currencies making it. I mean, look at our debt crisis, and we have a debt crisis that is on a global scale. And we have countries that are actually intentionally putting other countries in debt for what? Political power, but we have a actual debt crisis. And that's just, no one can give me a good enough answer as to why it will not fail, So for me, it's like, all right, I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin because even during its crash, right now, let's see, Bitcoin was at 19,900, close to 20,000. Right now, one Bitcoin is worth 38 and some change, actually 39 and some change right now. And you can't hold it, can't touch it. I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't show you what a Bitcoin looks like, but it's worth $3,900 still. It's not worth 20,000, but it's still worth $3,900. So how can I go wrong with that? even if it fell to $1,000, okay? How can I go wrong by holding something that you cannot see? I can't show you what it looks like. You have to. I can send it to you. You still can't see what the hell it looks like.
Yeah.
But it could be worth $1,000. Even if it tanks to $500, it's still worth more than $1 US. One Bitcoin versus $1 US.
Yeah,
So
and it's so short term sighted with the whole like, oh well, yeah, great store of value. It went from 20K to 3,100 we fell to recently, and then we popped back up. It's like, yeah, but it also started out free, like at one point.
Right.
Like at one point, somebody just opened up a laptop and started mining, or probably not a laptop back in the day, probably like a PC, but you know what I mean. And I think it's more incredible that it even got a value at all, to even worrying about where it's at. And a lot of people compare it to it, but if you look at the run up last year, the majority of that happened within like a month and a half. Like the major percentage of the gains was, I think the biggest run was only like 3 weeks. So like that was weird. Like that was the weird part. It's not weird where we are now. I think like where we are now makes sense. Because if you kind of just like, block it and don't look at the top, you just look at the chart, it's still going up. It has a nice natural growth to it, And I wanted to bring up a topic that you brought up because I thought it was something that, a lot of people don't understand, but these OTC markets, everyone says no one's getting in, no one's buying, right? Well, you're not seeing it. But it's happening, right? And a lot of these OTC desks, they don't really have to provide information. They don't have any obligation to show you how much trading is happening. And then on top of that, the ones that we can see, like for example, local Bitcoins, you know what I mean? It's okay. Venezuela is like at all-time high buying right now, but it's not doing anything for the price. So that's interesting. And people assume there's no interest because of it.
OTC. Last year, I got an OTC Bitcoin. I got into OTC Bitcoin because I heard about this little OTC desk. I heard these rumors about huge amounts of Bitcoin being bought. So I actually just started reaching out to people, asking questions, and then saying, yeah, I know someone who has X amount of Bitcoin for sale, but just no buyer. Well, I happen to know someone who might want to buy it. And then it's just started small to getting big to eventually just a lot of BS. But the truth is there's two kinds of OTC deals. There's your private sales, right, which is usually done by a miner. Or an OG, and then you have your OTC trading desk. Then they have another kind that's done through like lawyers and escrow, but 99.9% of the time it's a scam. It's not true. The only two that you can actually trust is private sales, where you can actually sit down with a person, get the wallet address, verify the funds, have them move some satoshis around. You know what I mean? There's just it's ugly, but the amount of Bitcoin moved to that market's insane. Through a OTC desk like a Bitfinex or OSL, there's $100,000 minimum on that.
Wow.
Private sellers typically they don't want anything. They don't want to deal. They'll deal less than maybe 1,000 Bitcoin at a time. Okay. I mean, we're not talking a little bit about. There's even Bitcoin deals that I know of that happened in 2018. They don't just happen at once. Someone just gives you like 300,000, but 300,000 Bitcoin, and they're done in tranches. You know what I mean? You just can't sit there and say, okay, I'm going to give you almost about $1 billion and you give me all that Bitcoin. You can't just move that much currency, legally, but they're done in tranches. They're done small enough to where they really actually kind of go unnoticed, And then there's other things I've heard, like with Bitfinex and their way they do their trading desk, the way that they utilize their wallets. I've not done a single Bitfinex on a trading desk, but from what I understand, I've been told is the way the wallets work there is our transferable wallets, where when you transfer the wallet, you can change the private keys, or somehow it works that way, which will kind of make sense. I mean, when you have a trading desk that designates with that, you know what I mean? But private sales, I mean, they happen a lot.
So
another example,
yeah,
me as a miner, I get hit up by those that have Bitcoin ATMs to have me sell them directly my Bitcoin versus selling it on the exchange. That volume won't be seen. If I sell it to someone that has a Bitcoin ATM, that's classified as OTC. Make sense? It happens all the time.
So what do you really like? Okay, so then the big question is, okay, I don't know where we're at today. I know we've been pretty high on volume, and I know some people are going to call wash trading, and yeah, it's happening, guys. We know that.
Yeah.
But let's just forget about the wash trading argument. There's probably about $35 billion that's happened in the past, maybe not the past 24 hours, it might be lower, but we're getting up there. So around that number, let's just pick a round number, 30 billion, right? If we're seeing 30 billion on the charts, what do you think is that? What do you realistically think? How much like percentage, 4x, like what do you think is really happening that we're not seeing? You know, how much?
Oh, as far as with the OTC
Like,
market?
what do you think we're seeing versus what's actually happening? What's the percentage ratio difference or?
Oh, so if we're seeing 30 billion, do I actually think we're seeing 30 billion?
No, like we're seeing 30 billion on coin market cap. So what do you
Yeah.
actually think happened? Like OTC, like what do you think? Like 4x?
Oh God, OTC,
Like,
I couldn't tell you. I would say at the very least a 3x on that.
3x.
You know what I mean? But then again, here's another thing. That's assuming that the market cap is right and there isn't wash trading. So we're assuming that 30 billion, we're on is not a result of wash trading. I would say there's a good possibility for at least a 3x. And then what's recently spawned on the OTC market is other altcoins now. Altcoins are actually in demand right now on the OTC market.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ethereum, there's been a lot of calls for Ethereum and Litecoin. Those two other coins, but I've stepped out of it this year just because I got tired of. You have to deal with a lot of lies.
Mm-hmm. What do you mine right now? What are you mining right now?
Just Bitcoin.
Just Bitcoin?
Just Bitcoin. Yeah.
And why?
I have some Dash miners. Like when I first started, I had some Dash miners. I experimented with a Monero and had a Sia coin miner, and I did that just to kind of get some metrics and figure out profitability of different coins. And ultimately, I just stuck with Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people tell you that mining Bitcoin Cash is more profitable, but for me, I found that just mining Bitcoin is, to me, a much safer spot to be in. You know what I mean? I feel it's a much safer spot to be in, and also I have no problems liquidating it. If I needed to pay for power or equipment, I know that there's a local Bitcoin broker to buy it, Gemini Exchange to buy it. It just seems to be a better space than mine, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, a guy like you needs that liquidity.
Yes.
That's why with some of the altcoins, like you had a Dash miner. Are you going to be able to move that much Dash if you had to?
Yeah, and I know some guys that actually have I can't remember the name of it. There's a Dash miner, it's like $7,000. But the guys that are using the Dash miner, they're actually converting their Dash straight into the Bitcoin.
Oh,
You know what I
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do that with certain formats. You can actually take your Dash and convert it straight to Bitcoin. And I know a lot of people that are actually doing that. And I know the ones that are now spending their money on that really big. I can't remember the name of that miner. It's insane. It's a big rectangular box. It's obnoxious and super loud. But I even know some people that say they do the same thing with Ethereum. But for Ethereum, it doesn't really make sense to do that. So Ethereum, it's actually a pretty decent coin to mine if you like to deal with the GPUs.
So I got a question for you. How were you able to survive when everybody else was claiming they were shutting down and all these guys? You saw the YouTube video of that one guy shutting his thing down, and where were they failing in your opinion?
All right, miners tend to do two things: overspend and over-engineer, and those are the two things I decided I wasn't going to do. And then third thing is most miners, very seldom do you actually see the people that are responsible for it physically there 24/7 or show up to fix their own problems. There can be a lot of overhead, and a lot of the guys that spent the money for immersion cooling, right? Like I saw this one guy, he shut down, he had a liquid cooling. Well, you'll never get your money out of that anytime soon. Immersion cooling is expensive to have it done properly. You have to do a lot.
Well, I see you took the convenient Mother Nature route and just went to a really cold place because you're always wearing a jacket.
Yeah, so. I'm always bundled up. But so for me, I went with keep it simple, stupid, KISS acronym. That's basically what I did. All right, I'm gonna go with airflow, no air conditioning. Use as far as building materials, use wood because flashpoint of wood is well over 300 degrees Fahrenheit. The likelihood of me getting there is going to be really rare. You know what I mean? As far as location, I could have went with a big giant warehouse, right? I decided not to go with the big giant warehouse because do I really need the space? because that's more square footage.
Mm-hmm.
That's you pay per square footage when you rent a place like that, right? Or even buy a place. So I kind of went minimalistic as possible, and then most importantly, power.
Mm-hmm.
Power companies don't make it easy on miners, especially not now. The more time goes on, it's going to be harder. I can't give away all my magic on this one, but what I did was I decided I wasn't going to work with bigger power companies. I was going to work with utility providers that would appreciate the revenue. And that's what I did. I hunted down those kind of utility providers, and that got me cheap power.
Mm-hmm.
And cheap power and going simple was basically what's keeping me from having to shut down my doors.
So basically what you're saying is people were just mismanaging their money, and because Bitcoin's price was flying to the moon, everyone thought that the same way the retail investors thought it was going to go up, the miners probably thought, hey, it's going to go up, not realizing that, hey, if it came down, can you still cover your costs? So right. I think that the same way that maybe a lot of retail investors learned the lesson the hard way, I think a lot of miners learned the lesson the hard way too then. Maybe next time around, they'll be a lot smarter about the way that they allocate their resources. You know, I think that and it's only going to get harder. So
yes, it will. But if you can teach yourself to survive during this market, whether you're an investor or a miner, if you can make it in this market, in this situation, imagine how things are going to be for you when things recover, right? And if you can carry that same level of discipline through another rally, because for every rally, there's going to be another bear market. So if you can carry that same level of discipline and meet that other bear market with that same level of discipline, you're going to be all right. So, I mean, I looked at some of these other miners that shut down, and some of them had like a Range Rover parked out front. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like
yeah.
You know, it's like a no-brainer. Well,
it's like the ICOs that all ended up doing yacht parties and going on all this stuff, and now they're broken. Like, what happened? Like, well, weren't you guys supposed to be building stuff? Like, what? That's what you did with the funds, you know? So it goes the same way, man. Miners as well, and anyone, you know? And that's why you always hear, like, people who win lotto, you know, they end up going broke anyway. They go back to their old ways because people just don't know how to deal with that insurgence of money. You know, it's like they want it, but then they get it, and they don't know how to, you know, maintain that being humble. And see, I'm very frugal. People don't know that about me. I don't even own a car. I don't have a car. I don't have a car. I used to own a car, but once I started the YouTube channel, I spent all my time at home. So now my girlfriend, you know, she comes home at 5, 6 o'clock, you know, and then I do what I got to do, you know, and I just pre-plan it so that I don't have to leave the house, and not paying a car payment, you know, over the course of a year. You know how much I save on that, you know, and it's just like these little, I mean, like I buy my own groceries, I cook my own food, right? I very rarely get takeout. That saves on the bill. So it's kind of like I've been like this. So applying this to crypto for me, I care a lot. Like I'm pissed. Like when I look at my portfolio and I see like my Bitcoin comparative drop, I'm pissed. I'm just like, which altcoin? I'm going to get you, you know, like, I mean, so, you know, I'm very frugal when it comes to stuff like that. And I think that's sort of why I've been all right in this bear market, you know, whereas a lot of other people got wrecked. I've been all right because I don't live lavishly. I've always lived below my means. You know what I mean? So that's just a thing. I'm not saying everyone should do that, but like you said, be careful. So I'm trying to think of what else would be a great question to ask. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what you just mentioned there made me think about something you mentioned earlier. You mentioned consensus in the whole rally, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people believe consensus. Last year, I'm guilty. I thought consensus was going to help. You know, consensus last year is a prime example of what you were just now talking about. The amount of money that those projects spent for the consensus last year. I mean, Snoop Dogg was there. I mean, performing. I mean, it was a big party. That's all it was.
Yeah, I know. I was there, man, and it was pretty. Okay. It was pretty disappointing, actually. It actually ruined my. It put a bad taste in my mouth, man. It turned crypto from this like magical place of, you know, changing the world to like a bunch of guys in business suits trying to do like back end deals and get like allocations. And I was just like, ew, like this is not what I thought it was like, you know? And it was, but continue. Yeah.
Yeah. You think about all that money from last year went into things like that. With a big party, you know, 2017 projects partied. Everyone, it was like Instagram culture times 10. You know, was the crypto.
There were projects that were dropping scannable codes from the ceiling, like just just like having parties, and then they would just drop money, and you could scan it, and then you'd get it, like it would go to your wallet. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, dude, they were just, it was crazy. I mean, it was just like, hey, money for everybody, and then You know, enter.
I bet you right now, a lot of the guys managing that team would wish they can get some of that back. You know,
Absolutely.
But that's like consensus this year. It makes me wonder. Okay, so what is consensus going to be like this year? I don't think it's going to have any impact personally on the market. Last year, consensus made itself unimportant. The previous year before that, consensus actually brought a lot of things to the table. You know, there's a lot of exposure to new possibilities in markets. People pointed out the fact that banks were there to learn more about it. You know, last year I just feel like ruined it. This year I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. I wonder if it's gonna be a meager kind of a setting. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It's really weird. But I think last year all that money and overspending, I'm hoping humbled not just the market as a whole, but a lot of these projects. Because there was a lot of mismanagement.
I'm calling them out, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a YouTube channel now, so I mean, if I see if we start having a bull run and I start seeing some of these really bad ICOs coming out, I'm calling them out because I am not letting subscribers go through what we went through with all that. You know, and the truth is we didn't know either. You know, a lot of people like to blame different, and I didn't even have a YouTube channel in 2017, so I missed out on all those sweet gains. It's like I literally started my channel and we just went down. So I only know what it's like to have a YouTube channel in a bear market. So for me, I can't even imagine what it would be like. But yeah, I'll tell you though, there were a lot of mistakes made, and I think we gotta smarten up, man. Like that's the most important thing. Us as creators have responsibilities to our audience, and you know, I mean, they're gonna do what they want anyway. But I really think that it's most important that everyone that was in the space make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again. So that's why I say, you know, like BitConnect happened. Yeah, that sucked. But I think it had to happen. I think it had to happen. Because if it never did, we would have never learned. We would have never had that reference. I mean, now you reference BitConnect and it's almost just like it's a meme now, you know? But we needed that to happen. You know, we needed a failed consensus. We needed to have that crazy run up only to crush everybody's dreams. Like we needed those ICOs that, you know, eventually did -5 for people, you know, and you were losing. Like I feel like that was all good for the space. And I know that sounds kind of corny and cliche, but I really do think that it had to happen.
Dude, I think that's actually what you're saying there is a great thing. Because like I said in the beginning, I'm an entrepreneur. That means I'm a master of failure. I don't think I've ever said I'm a successful person ever. I've actually been comfortable and happy with the idea of being a failure. Because that moment of failure, that, oh crap, I lost everything. Uh-oh, I made a bad choice. That what did I do moment, that am I going to make it? You know, those hard, tense, uncomfortable moments are the only opportunities anybody will ever get to do something better. Mm-hmm. That is the honest to God's truth. If you are never in a situation to fail, lose money, if you're never in a situation that makes you uncomfortable, you'll never have an opportunity to do something better or make yourself something better. So things like BitConnect happened. We thought that was the golden era. We were wrong. We learned something. A lot of us lost money because of things like that. A lot of us thought that Bitcoin would never fall below $10,000. You know what I mean? It did. We were wrong. Now
6K was definitely the bottom, dude. Definitely.
That 6K was the bottom. I said it. You know what I mean? I said it too. And guess what? We were all wrong. You know, that's why now when someone says to me, you know, well, we're at the bottom now. Well, if you, yeah, maybe. But there's still a possibility we could fall to $1,000 tomorrow. And the only thing that would keep me saying that's unlikely from happening is if we fell below $3,100, there's no way the Chinese miners can make it right now. No way. And there's not enough hash power coming out of South America.
Well, I read an article actually that they were doing something with hydro. They're over in China now. They're trying to use more like hydroelectric.
Yeah, so I wanted to address that in my video, but I didn't because I kind of ran real long, but I know how to shorten that up now.
Okay. You can reference that in your video tomorrow and tell them to what, yeah.
I would make a quick reference to that. So hydropower is cheap, right? It's absolutely cheap. The infrastructure behind hydropower is not cheap, right? Requires extensive engineering. China has right now an issue with speed building because that's what the government requires. Speed building has resulted in a lot of their infrastructure falling apart. I don't believe that their hydropower will be as reliable as needed to give Bitcoin any extra level of security. I think they'll build it. I think there'll be miners, but I think the hydro dams will come with a lot of flaws. It'll be quite a long time. before those things are actually resolved into where they can be reliable power. That's
Okay.
my thoughts.
All right. Well, I wanted to ask you that because that was actually
Yeah.
one of the things in my video that I actually said to the audience, I'm going to ask you this. So I didn't want to
Yeah.
let them down. I want to make sure I brought it up. And really quick, we got off that other topic, but that was really inspirational what you had said about failure. Not to get like on a crypto channel about like failure, but you got to think about it. You know, people who tend to fail more are people that tend to try more, right? I mean, like if you don't fail at anything ever, my question is, are you happy with where you are right now? Because if you're not failing at anything, you're either extremely complacent or you just don't care or you're not trying because, dude, I fail like all the time. Like every day, like there's always something that I'm looking back on and I say to myself, you know, I wish I had figured that out. And, you know, I question myself, is this conditioning from school? You know, think about it. Like you open the book, you read, right? Then you take your test on Friday. You take the test, you get the results back on Monday. Say you got an 80, right? That's it. We move on to the next subject. Well, how is that teaching you anything? Wouldn't it be cool to go back and see where you screwed up and then maybe take it again? And you might be better the next time, but that's not how school works. So we tend to think that when we fail, that's it. We need to start looking at them as lessons. And I know that I just had to reiterate on that because that's just something that, like, crypto or not, you know, if you've lost money in this space, if you've got burned, if you've got scammed, learn from it, man, because there's so many opportunities in this. Like there's so much opportunity in crypto right now that I would hate to see people get discouraged because they made a mistake or, you know, they lost a private key or, you know, sent money to the wrong address or got scammed or something or bought into a crappy ICO, you know?
What we're seeing right now, a good way to look at how to overcome this failure is every time we've had the stock market crash, you go back to the 40s, you go back to what we had in the late 90s, and you go to the most recent Great Recession, right? The ones who actually made the most money were the ones who sat down and said to themselves, okay, this sucks, right? I lost everything, but this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. When everything has fallen apart, this is the opportunity. Because it's going to have to get fixed. Mm-hmm. So where are you going to be in that? Where are you going to position yourself through that ride as it gets fixed? Because it's going to get fixed. Mm-hmm. It's not going to die. It's not going to go anywhere. This is cryptocurrencies is a whole new level of economics, and we know it's not going to go anywhere because we have institutions spending money like on back. You honestly, this is for those people who say crypto is going to die, it's going to zero. You honestly think that these corporations who have made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, are stupid enough to just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to invest in this platform that's just going to die off. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. So we're through this process of a whole new rebuilding process. It's going to go up. So, I mean, where are you going to position yourself? Are you going to stay at the bottom or are you going to hook on and ride that roller coaster as it goes back up? You know what I mean?
Dude, I watched, and I wish I could reference it. I can't remember because it was like a random like documentary I was watching. I don't even remember what it was called, but they were interviewing people that had actually been involved in like stock crashes and booms and busts and stuff like in the traditional markets. And they actually found out that, believe it or not, more people regret not so much buying high and losing. They actually regret not buying when it was low because they walked away and gave up. And apparently that psychologically screws people up more than buying a coin and losing money, or you know what I'm saying, than saying, screw this, I'm not getting involved, and then coming back 6 months later and realizing that it like 5x'd or something. Apparently that psychologically does more damage. So, you know, kind of realistically, this is the sweet spot. You know, and for the average person, you know, we can't give them financial advice, but realistically speaking, I know for a fact that most people can easily part with 10% of your paycheck. Easily. Most people can, unless you're like whatever. And the thing is, like, the problem is when they go in all in. Like you throw your paycheck in, you throw your rent money in. That's when you have an issue. That's gambling, dude. But I mean, as far as dollar cost averaging or getting in, I mean, what a beautiful opportunity we have right now. I mean, it's just incredible. You know, how many people were like, I wish Bitcoin would be 3K. Well, it is, dude. It is now. You know, you got your wish.
There's another way to look at it. I did a video one time on 3 ways I make money in crypto. One's through mining. The other was OTC. And the other way I make money through crypto is developing solutions. So blockchain offers solutions to so many problems, right? And one solution that I'm still working on right now is to utilize distributed ledger technology to help state government, can't say which state, utilize that technology to make sure that there's no fraud. See, a notary is only so good, right? An actual notary is only so good. You have to trust that person to not have that you have to trust that the person who's going to verify a piece of paperwork is not friends with the person that they're verifying for. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong. People can take things and pull things out, lose things, you know what I mean? Intentionally delete things. With distributed ledger technology, you can keep paperwork intact. You can keep records intact. You know, I mean, there's so many things. I've actually been trying to work with other groups to utilize distributed ledger technology for voting solutions. Imagine if we utilize, and I'm trying to hopefully inspire someone who's watching this.
Well, they have some guys like Horizon State and Poll and stuff like that. But you're talking
blockchain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, check out like look up Horizon State. Yeah.
No kidding. That's a good thing. I didn't know that existed. I remember last year I mentioned it as like somebody has to make a solution to voting utilizing blockchain because can't question that at that point.
Well, the thing is they have it, but are they going to, I mean, is it really going to get adopted? I mean, because then, we're not going to have those crazy Florida elections anymore, where they always screw up, last minute, like, if you're from the US, you'll get it. If you're not, you won't. But, yeah, it's
there's, other than buying it, if you know there's a problem, right, that can be fixed with it, try to find a solution. Try to be that person to bring people together, even if you're not that guy who can solve it. Find people that can help you do it. This is an opportunity. This is literally the new internet age that we're in right now. Back in the 90s when everybody was like, man, internet can fix this, internet can fix that, internet can do this. And people they literally kept throwing things at the wall until something stuck. And even if it didn't stick, they still made money in the process because they tried.
Yeah, and it's all about building, man. It's all about moving forward, realizing that even Lightning Network, it's not perfect,
right?
But it's really only. I mean, I didn't even think it'd be out. I honestly thought that they would not have even had it yet. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be multiple years away. I mean, the fact that we've already had how many channels open in just the past year? We've gone from, I think it was like 1,000 to, I want to say 30,000. I think we have right now or something. It's pretty incredible. When you think about it. So just the progress alone is really what keeps me going. And obviously guys like you, man, being passionate in the space. I mean, it's an inspiration for me. I'd hate to think I'm out here just making videos for myself over here. It's really nice to see that, you're putting your life into this. I mean, your life is crypto, literally more than mine. I could put the computer down and go get a job. But I mean, you have a facility. I mean, you married this. You married it.
Yes, I did. Let's put it this way. If something crazy happened tomorrow and the entire thing just fell apart, the entire crypto market fell apart, and then it was completely dead, so am I. I have to start over. Like my life has to completely start over. I mean, I have a lot of skin in this game, but I only do it because, I can't just say I only do it because I believe in it. To be truthful, I've always taken risks, and it's always resulted in failure, right? But I feel like with this, I'm taking actual calculated risk. I know that it's just one of the few things I've ever done that's so crazy that I just know is going to work out, no matter how hard it is, no matter how crazy my wife, friends, or even some of my subscribers think I am. I mean, I have some subscribers who think I've actually lost my mind. I might need some help because you're dealing with something that can, destroy your life. But I mean, that's anything else. You could have a bank account right now and we could have another financial crisis and then your dollar be worth nothing. I mean, so I'd rather fail at something that I have some level of control over versus something I don't.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it sucks with the, volatility and all that, but I'll tell you what, I feel a lot more comfortable having Bitcoin than I do having my money in PayPal or having my money in a bank. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it works until it doesn't. And I know that's a stupid statement, but it's true. Like how many governments worked until they didn't? How much fiat systems worked? And I mean, if you look historically, fiat is destined to fail. Like inherently, fiat will fail. It's designed to fail by nature, Yep. Yeah. So it's just really crazy, man. But yeah, I remember you were telling me though. I feel like you said you had to get. I don't know. You said you had to get going. I don't want to hold you up.
It's very seldom people have good conversations about crypto. So
okay. Because I remember when we first started.
You're clocked out. It's fine.
Yeah. Because when we first started, you were like, "Yeah, I got to be somewhere in a half hour," and I'm pretty sure we've gone over a half hour. So, I mean, is there anything you want to kind of leave us with? I had a whole bunch of things we could have talked about. We could have talked about Wall Street coming in. We could have talked about delete Coinbase movement, but we talk about that all day. I mean, is there anything you kind of think maybe my viewers would benefit knowing, or something you kind of would like to share? Because
when someone asks you that question, that everything that you could have said just goes, you know what I mean? Let's go with Wall Street though. So I've always believed that Wall Street is already here, right? I feel like they're already here. Now, what I really feel holds back Wall Street, and you're actually going to get two areas covered in this little statement.
Twofer.
What I feel holds back Wall Street is the fact that they don't have a way to actually bring massive amounts of money into the market, but they actually have a way to bring massive amount of money into the OTC market. If that makes any sense, they can actually spend easily $100 million in the OTC market. Whereas if you want to take $100 million and put it on Coinbase and buy $100 million worth of Coinbase, it's not so easy. There's no trust there. You know what I mean? There's no infrastructure. Whereas with OTC, it's all done through the bank. The bank can even act as the escrow agent to make sure the transfers and whatnot of the Bitcoin is done. You know what I mean? To make things sure are honored. So, I mean, Wall Street, I feel, has already been in our space, but I feel like they've been here in a smaller volume. I feel like we've already had these traders playing in our space, in smaller volumes that are no bigger than anyone else's, because there's limitations to what you can actually do right now, right? So I don't know. I just feel like it's already been there, but I feel like when we actually have things like BACK, a platform that is regulated, insured, and a safe haven for these guys to bring their fiat, massive amounts of fiat, just like they can bring it to their bank to buy OTC Bitcoin, I believe that volume will pour into the market, because it's beneficial at that point to bring the value up. Because they've already hodled so much, already have so much from what they've already done.
Right. You need something to happen on an exchange at some point, because you need to move it, or else you're just sitting on a pile of the same price. So
right. So I mean, that's why with BACK, I really feel backed. I don't think it'd be like an overnight catalyst. I don't think as soon as it's launched that the next day we're going to be, at a $1 trillion market cap or anything crazy. You know what I mean? I think it'll be a slow, progressive growth, which is what we need, because we don't need straight lines. Straight lines has always failed with Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies. Anything in a straight line always falls, never fails. So I don't know. Now, Coinbase, I mentioned Coinbase. I did a tweet on Coinbase. I have to mention this because it still makes me mad. I tweeted on my Twitter that I was going to delete my Coinbase. About a day or two later, I went into my Coinbase to kind of go over how to delete it, just so I can do it on video. And when a part which shows you the ability to buy or sell your Bitcoin was disabled.
What?
I'm not kidding you. Oh, it was disabled.
Dude.
I am not joking. And if you look at the video where I deleted it, you can see I have a long history, and I've used it a lot in the past. You know what I mean?
We all have. I mean,
Right. I have. I've never had a problem with it. After I did that tweet, I am not kidding you. Now, is that coincidence? Is it a coincidence? You know what I mean?
I don't.
So do I support delete Coinbase? Absolutely. Not because of personal reasons, or just because of the fact that same thing I said about like Jack Dorsey. Actually, I supported someone else's comments on this, on Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg. It was actually a guy who was on Joe Rogan, mentioned the fact that they're hypocrites in this space because of the fact that their platforms are not open source and they're not decentralized. And Coinbase is doing the same thing. The whole open source, decentralized aspect is completely disappearing. It's really not even like a crypto exchange. It's slowly becoming like us going to a bank that manages crypto now. It's slowly evolving into that. And now some people will argue with me and say, well, it's cheap and it's convenient. Granted, but at what price are you truly paying for that? You know what I mean?
It's a double-edged sword. It is, because you want to take that almost like libertarian approach. Screw that. We don't need anything. We don't need anyone. But at the same time, how are we going to get more people into the space when Coinbase, unfortunately, is so convenient for people in the US? Think about it. Set up a Coinbase account. I told my dad to set up a Coinbase account about a year ago, and he still hasn't set one up because he doesn't want to make the trip to the bank because he doesn't have e-banking because he's old school. So literally, that's a barrier. So what do you tell him to do now? You could use BISC or something, or what? Tell them to go to local Bitcoins. I mean, are people going to feel comfortable sending something through like Western Union or MoneyGram? It's like, so the barrier of entry is difficult. And then on the other hand, you know, I know some people that they don't care about the whole decentralized aspect whatsoever. They don't care. Like all they care about is if my money's on Coinbase, I don't care about if I own my keys or not. I know that if something happens, they're insured, they're in the US, I'm going to get my money back. We're not going to have a Quadriga CX situation. You know what I'm saying? Like if something ever happened with Coinbase, you know they would have to pay us. They would have to legally because of the way that they function in the US. So, you know, that's a problem too. It's a slippery slope, and you know, either way, you say one thing, you're going to piss somebody off. You say the other thing, you're going to piss somebody else off. But I always like to look at things objectively. You know, like even with Binance, you know, that's a topic like, I don't even know if I want to go there right now. But what are you going to do? Yeah, could they be doing stuff in the background? Are they? I mean, guys, they have the ability to, so maybe they are. But at the same time, what about people that are retail that want a lot of liquidity? You know, what about somebody that you know, he's not an OTC, he's not a Wall Street guy, he's just a guy that has a lot of money. Say he's got 40,000, 50,000 bucks worth of a coin. He wants to move it quick. Where are you going to do that on IDEX? You know? No.
That's true.
You'll destroy the order book.
And you know, I also feel like there's another dilemma with that, like on the perspective dilemma. Like,
and can I just say that I'm not like, by the way, sticking up, or I'm just because I know someone's going to say something. I'm just being objective. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm just looking at all the sides here. Okay, I'm not like
it's crazy. You have to disclaim.
I have to, because if not, they're like, how much did Binance pay you? Like, what are you talking about? Like, come on.
Yeah, but you know, there's the dynamics of our perspective here. So I mean, a lot of the early adopters of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies went there because of things like the idea of being decentralized. That idea that you can transact 24/7, 365 without anyone telling you how, when, or where, or wondering, okay, you're going to send all this money overseas. Why? How did you make money? No compliance. It's freedom, right? Another aspect of what brought early investors was tech. So the population, though, you take the population of early investors who invested and got into it for those reasons, and then you compare that population to all those who came in behind us, right? They don't care about the tech. They don't care about the decentralized, the freedom. All they know is the only reason that really registered in their minds was money. Bitcoin, $20,000. Really? What? Why didn't I buy it? And that is the introduction that, what I'd say maybe 75% of the investors in there now got was the money you can make, versus maybe a quarter got in for the libertarian aspect of it, you know, the freedom aspect, the idea of being against a centralized entity controlling your funds that can take it from you at any time. And that population being so small, I feel like, you know, makes it to where things like Coinbase is okay. You know, it's okay that they're becoming more like a bank. It's okay that they're going to sell your data. It's okay that you know, that they're going to hire people that can actually track your wallets and figure out exactly what wallets, who owns this. It's okay, and I feel like that's the dynamic. I mean, a good way to prove that point is title your video about tech, cryptocurrency tech. Title another video about money.
Oh, you mean, yeah. Oh, dude, I used to do deep dives into crypto tech, deep ones, like, you know, really breaking down all different consensus models, and nobody cared. Like, it's just a reality, you know, and it's a lot of, you're right. And actually that's funny, because a lot of people say, what do you think is going to bring the next wave of retail investors? Money. How are we going to get to that point? I don't know. I don't know how we're going to get Bitcoin from 3,900 to 10K again. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I know once it does, they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because that's what drew them here in the first place, clearly. So yeah, you're right. It is very driven by money, greed, fear, all that, you know, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, or FUD, right. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, you know? Also, dude, you said something really cool in a video. You were like, everyone is listening to the same radio station. What was it? WIIFM. What's in it for me?
WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah, that was good, man. What's in it for me? I like that. And it's true. What's in it for me? You know, I don't care about the tech. What's in it for me, right? So
it is.
Absolutely.
And that makes it hard for everybody in the crypto space. Is what's in it for me? That's what everyone keeps looking at, is what's in it for me. And I think no matter what direction you look at in the crypto space, whether you're an investor, you're a miner, even, you know what I mean? Because everyone has to look out for themselves, or you're a YouTuber. You know what I mean? You're always going to be hit
Oh yeah,
with,
us YouTubers, we're like millionaires. No,
yes,
we're not. Like Jesus, like
yeah, everyone's gonna hit you with a WIFM personality. What's in it for you? What's in it for me? Why, I'm watching you because I want to be rich. Now you're threatening my idea of getting rich. Oh, you're getting rich before I am. No, you can't do that. You know, I mean, there's just so many things in our space that I hope as we experience more of this uncomfortable situation, everybody, I'm hoping that it helps everybody collectively, mature as a market, and just in the market, the YouTubers, the miners. I don't know. I feel like if we keep going the direction we're going with investors, influencers, just our ecosystem, I don't want us to be a laughing stock, because we're actually we're like the next wave. The people that can look down to us now in these traditional markets, their time is coming.
Well, you're having a conversation with a guy called Crypto Zombie, so I don't know. That's pretty professional sounding, right? I mean, right there. Like, I know. I just kind of bashed myself on that one, but
No.
I don't know. It's fun though. It's fun. The characters, the memes. I mean, it's all part of it. And to be honest with you, if we didn't have the memes, I don't even know if I could have made it through the damn bear market. at least I was able to make fun of myself, and that at least got us through it. So. Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
When I saw Crypto Zombie, the first thing that came to mind is this guy's a Call of Duty player.
Really?
Yes, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Well, I did used to play Nazi Zombies. I was a fan of it. That was fun. Also, Loom Network has a Crypto Zombie app, and I'm surprised they haven't hit me up with the official legal papers. I'm sure I'll eventually get those, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there's Loom Network has a learn how to code Solidity program, and it's Crypto Zombies. They're actually these zombies that show you how to learn Solidity. I didn't know about it when I made my name. I made it just because I thought like zombies eat brains, and Crypto Zombie would be like, I'm up all night, I'm researching, I can't stop, But I mean, I don't know. I think we could kind of live. I don't know. The guys are cool. I don't think they'll do it. I mean, I don't think I'm really infringing on their brand in any way, but yeah, I agree with you though. As far as some of it, I mean, some of the channels and some of the personalities in the space are just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, please. I hope that you're not the first video that a newcomer sees, because they're not gonna take this seriously if that's the case. So, absolutely, man, dude, it has been a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you for even staying for the extra 20 whatever it was minutes that even though you had places to be. Chris, that's Kristof. Chris, what do you prefer, Chris?
You go by Chris, that's fine.
All right, cool. So, Chris, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. This was a really relaxing, kind of just we didn't really have anything planned. So, nope. Shout out to everybody that kind of was like, let's get this together. And, dude, you're welcome back anytime, just so you know.
Absolutely.
Anytime
Next
you
time
want.
we do this with a beer.
Yeah, we should have. I'm drinking water over here out of my my Star Trek glass because I'm a nerd. So
nice.
Yeah, it's got like old and new. Actually, these were from I think these were like the Burger King collectibles. I told you I'm frugal, bro. So anyway, that being said, I want to say thank you so much to everyone that actually stuck out, watched this. Chris, awesome. Definitely check out his channel, by the way. I have it linked below. Check him out. Miner, real cool dude, as you can tell, down to earth. I enjoy. I'll tell you what. I know a lot of crypto channels. There's not many that I get excited to actually watch the videos. I get excited when your videos come out, and I'll tell you that straight up. I actually genuinely watch your videos, man. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, really awesome. So thanks again for everybody. Check that out. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.